Mirror, mirror on the wall, which chambermaid should I unalive today? Oops, that's something she said. And by she, I mean Countess Elizabeth Bathory. And that is who we are going to be discussing today. She was a real vampire. If you think about what a vampire is, was, does, did she live forever? No. Did she consume the vital essence of individuals? Yeah, absolument. Um, she was actually from the same area as another vampire that we all know and we all love, the guy by the name of Dracula. I am Dracula. Or his real name was Vlad Tepes from Wallachia or Wallachia, Wallachia. I don't have the Russian thing correctly. And my family would be ashamed of me because my mother's Ukrainian. So I do need to work on that because it's the same region, Hungary, Eastern Europe, that whole thing. So I do probably need to go ahead and get a little bit more on point with that because I might be actually talking about my auntie now. Who knows? Wouldn't that be cool, uncool, infamous? I don't know. If you're actually turned out to be related to some historical nefarious character. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably that probably is not in my bloodline. But speaking of bloodline, boy, did she like lines made of blood. And by that again, Elizabeth Bathory. She was about a century after Vlad the Impaler, who we know as Dracula. Bram Stoker kind of ripped off his whole life story, turned it into a book. Beautiful book, by the way. Of course, it's a classic. Halloween doesn't happen without Dracula these days. It's you just they're synonymous. So we're getting into that season. I'm gearing up, so we are going to be doing a whole vampire glam kind of a goth thing. I'm doing a darker look. I have not done my face makeup. I usually do that first. I'm not going to do that first today because when you do a dark, more glam eye, you're going to be working with heavier pigments and it can kind of get everywhere. It can become a bit of a mess. I'm not going to do that. So we're going to do the eyes first and then we're going to do the face and finish off. But as I go, we are going to take a walk back through history in Eastern Europe to Transylvania, Wallachia, Hungary, that kind of whole region. All right. I'm going to get started. I'm going to do my eyes. I've already done a primer for my eyeshadow or my eyelid primer. I've done a face primer, but I have not done foundation. I did use this product the other day. I actually really, really, really like it. I will show it to you in just a second, but I kind of want to work fast before it dries. This product is Huda Beauty. Turns out I really like their, look at the difference already. Holy shnikes. I actually do have hair. I have eyebrows. They're just, what? They're super hidden without it. So this is Huda Beauty Balm Brows, full and fluffy. Very, very quick application. Easy to use. You get your hair strokes without a ton of fuss. I do recommend primer as well. I've said that before. Always cleanse your face first, do your moisturizers, have a nice palette, and then you do your primer. But where was I? Oh yeah, we were talking about vampires and unaliving chambermaids. Now a chambermaid, I don't have one. I don't know if you do. It'd be pretty cool. I think like the Kardashians or famous people, rich people like that, they might have chambermaids. I left mine in another life, but whatever. Chambermaid, all ladies of royalty or the upper class, they would have a host, a group of private maids that simply attended to them and their needs. How awesome. Fetch me my powder. And then she'd, come a running. Fetch me my powder. Oh, Andrea, you have to get it yourself because Miss Andrea in Orlando, I don't have chambermaids. if I pay my water bill, then I don't have to use a chamber pot. I can use, a commode. Kidding. I don't always pay the water bill, but there is a canal out back, so I don't have to use a chamber pot. I can just go out there. Also kidding, because of the risk of alligators. That's the thing. All right. Jokes aside, we were talking about Elizabeth Bathory, the one, the only, and you might not have heard of her, but she took anything that Vlad Tepes, and he was operating out of kind of a revenge. As a little boy, he had been abducted by rulers of the Turkish, aka Ottoman Empire. I dropped my little towel, gotta get it, at that time. And terribly, terribly mistreated. So Vlad the Impaler, they I guess the members of the Ottoman Empire thought, well, we will take Vlad, little boy Vlad, and because he's going to grow up in our courts until he's at least an adolescent, then he'll be really pliable and he'll do what we want him to do, since they had killed his father. And when we'll just put him back on the throne, he'll be a figurehead, he'll do what we want, and he'll be good. It's going to all work out. Because abusing a child and then making them the ruler like a king, what could go wrong? Meh? So much went wrong. The Ottomans, or the rulers of the Turks at that point in time, they wore these elaborate turbans. So before we get into our gal, Liz, okay, Vlad, who came in the 15th century, about 100 years before the gal I'm going to go into, abducted by a little boy, totally abused, just awful, awful, awful. Then they let him go, put him back on the throne when he kind of comes of age, and thought it's going to go well. Now, the rulers of the Ottoman Empire, the Turks at that point in time, thought, hey, we have our traditions. We wear these turbans. We don't ever take them off. That's part of our religion. People get that. They respect it. It's a thing. Well, they go to court thinking that this kid, who's now a man, who's in charge, and I'm talking about Dracula, the real Dracula, they think, and I actually think it's kind of a cool story, that he's like, oh, really? Really? Check this out. What's about to be, I'm about to throw down. So what did you say, Ric Flair? Vlad says, come on to court. Come on, we're going to have a barbecue. Come on. It's going to be great. Invite everybody in the club. It's getting roast beef today. It's fine. So he invites them all over. They show up with their turbans. And he says, well, you need to remove those I'm a king. I'm the ruler. I'm the dude. I'm the guy. You know that we don't take those off. No, sir. We do not remove those. He says, oh, really? You're not going to take them off? We're not going to take them off. I'm going to ask you again. You sure you're not going to take them off? No, we are not going to take these off. Okay. That's awesome. 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 Cool. Awesome sauce. Well, I'll tell you what. So the guy who ended up becoming Vlad the Impaler, who skewered a whole bunch of people, and actually kind of to this day is revered as sort of a savior to his people, because Bram Stoker took his story, twisted it, made it into this whole other thing, of course, for mythology and mythos, and Hollywood loved it. We ate it up with a spoon, great big spoon. But in reality, this guy, who had been terribly abused as a child for years, then he's given this seat of power. He invites these guys. I would have been suspicious, straight up. No, I'm not going to go to his house. He might be mad about all that stuff. We played keep away with him a bunch as a child. Let's not go to his house for the hoedown. Whatever. They showed up. Okay, la la la, with the turbans, and he's like, you're not going to take them off. No, we're not going to take them off. You sure not going to take them off? No, we're not going to take them off. Okay. Well, then his order, one of the first orders, one of the first acts of business was, well, then you're going to keep them on permanently. So he had all of their turbans nailed to their heads. Wow. That was unexpected. And with that kind of power move, he totally cemented himself as, yeah, who's your daddy now? This is what's up. Because he gained such notoriety and acted in just ways that were so over the top. Yeah, committing mass genocide is not cool. But from a like human to human, I do kind of get, why he had some angst, why he had some buildup, and I don't know so much in the 15th century in Eastern Europe, in Transylvania, Wallachia. I don't think therapy was as big of a thing. He couldn't really go get the therapy that he wanted then. It wasn't really happening. So that's kind of some of the backstory to this person who came about 100 years before a lady, a noblewoman in the same area, Wallachia, Transylvania, Hungary, Eastern Europe. There are theories that Elizabeth Bathory was related to Vlad the Impaler, because at that point in time we have like the Habsburgs in Europe, Austria, all of this. In fact, a group of royals that were so committed to keeping that money in the family, cousin upon cousin, uncle to niece, just a lot of super, their family trees weren't family trees, they were just phone poles. They were so committed to it that eventually the bloodline just like impaled. No pun, but we're talking about Vlad. So the bloodline just kind of gave up until the point where they literally could not reproduce anymore because of the inbreeding and we desperately need outside DNA.